Stories at 10 miles per hour. The story of Louis Giordano. My dear friend. Oh, Louis. From Louis's testimony, uh, from what he told me, Louis was a good friend, a very good friend. He he told me when he was little, um, what he would do back in the I guess it would be 1950s and 1960s, on his way to school. Um, he knew that the milkman would bring the milk and leave it on people's porch. And on the people's porch would be some silver quarters. Uh, I don't know if it's one or two, depending on what they ordered. And he would just go up on early in the morning on the way to school, steal the people's quarters, and that's how he began his career in crime. Um, I don't know why he did this. Um, he, he was just known as Louis the Burglar, but that's what he would do. And he told me that story. Then he told me a story of later on, somewhere in Chicago, a suburb known as Melrose Park. Uh, Practicing martial arts, and his sister Judy was always complaining about how Louis would scare the boyfriends away because he would be out on his front lawn practicing his martial arts. It later became a boxer. And for all I know, because Louis started out in the 1950s, I'll take Louis's word. If he wants to claim the invention of smashing people upside the head, and at the same exact time you come into contact with your opponent, twisting the gloves, creating immense pain. But we won't. I don't want to talk about a bunch of violence. I'm just saying, when I met Louis, was back in, I think it was 2012, and he was telling me these stories, and I'm just saying, yeah, I do remember Muhammad Ali had developed that technique. But I don't want to talk about a bunch of violent crap. I just want to talk about myself and my old dear friend Louis, because somebody had stolen a bunch of equipment from me, and I was mad as hell. And almost impossible when you try to deal with the police or the sheriffs and you're trying to get your stolen stuff back. You don't have much of a chance. So I enlisted my friend Louie. He's just an acquaintance. I said, hey, I could use your help. Uh, we need to mess some people up. And he just started telling all his stories. One of his stories was how he lived in a place known as the world's largest homeless encampment in San Jose, California. And he was known as Infamous Louie. And he told of a story of drinking a whole 1.75 milliliter bottle of synthetic vodka. And they had to haul him to the ER, and he survived. He told of being a bank robber, store robber, bank robber, whatever they would do in some kind of a gang in San Francisco back in the early 60s, whereas they would somebody might not be successful, somebody would, but they split up the money, and they would throw down with pistols. And back in those days, they didn't have the AR 47s or the AK 56, whatever they are. They just throw down with a pistol. And, they got caught, and they threw Louie in San Quentin, and he told of a story of how he had to be in solitary confinement for 10 years. And so then when they let him out, he just had all this money backed up from an SS Social Security money, and he'd fly around on jets. He also told of a story about this news story in Southern California where he was walking down Van Nuys Boulevard, and he saw this box. And just passed it by and found out later there was $60,000 in the box. It's like, just on and on. He's constantly coming over to